vector, B vector, C vector, and D vector are in the same order. Same order means the head of one vector you will connect with the tail of another vector, like this, like this. And you have A vector, B vector, C vector, and D vector. If you want to find the resultant, if you want to find the resultant of all these vectors, then you have to join from the tail of the first vector to the head of the another vector, and this vector, okay, but in the opposite sense, or you can say the opposite order, then this vector will represent the magnitude of all these vectors, okay. So polygonal law can be explained with the help of triangle law also. Divyangi, are you getting my voice?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I am applying the triangle law here. So what was the triangle law? See, what is triangle law? This is the triangle law. You have this triangle law is used for adding two vectors. Here you have one vector and another vector. So what you will do? You have two vector, A vector and V vector. You will join head of one vector with the tail of another vector. So this thing will become this, and this. Two vector will be represented like this. And A vector and V vector are in the same order. So for the resultant, what you will do, you will join from the tail to the head of the another vector. So this R vector will represent the resultant vector. But here you are taking this vector in the opposite order. Now, so triangle law can be used for any two vectors. So I am using the triangle law for adding this vector and this vector. So vector addition is different from scalar addition. You can add the scalar quantities like 5 plus 6, 11, but you cannot add A plus B. Okay, like suppose A vector is given as 5, B vector is given as 6. So you cannot say A vector plus B vector is equal to 11. This will be wrong. Vector follows some different addition. But for scalars, you can say, I have written this thing here. A, B, and R. All these things are not vector. This A is not vector, B is not vector, R is not vector. Okay, see here. In this formula, here I have written this A square, B square. Here this A and B square. And here this A and this B is not a vector. This is only the magnitude of A and B. Okay. And this R is not R vector. This is just the R, the magnitude of the resultant vector. Direction is given by this. So for the vector addition, what we do? First, we calculate the magnitude of two vector or three vector. If you want to add two vectors, suppose A vector and B vector. So first, what you will do? You cannot directly add the vectors, and you will not get the magnitude in the direction at the same time. Okay, when you are adding the vector in the polar form. So what you will do? First, you will calculate the magnitude, then you will calculate the direction. This is the thing. So I am just applying here the parallelogram triangle law. We can apply the parallelogram law also, but parallelogram law will be little bit difficult here. So this is A vector in this direction and this is B vector. So I can complete the triangle. I can close this triangle by this side in the opposite sense, in the opposite order. So suppose this is R1. What is R1 vector? Can I write R1 vector as A vector plus B vector? Is it or not?
Yes, sir.
Simply I can write. So means I have got the resultant R1 of this A and B. So now there is no use of A and B. A and B, we have calculated the resultant. So this will be removed. I am just removing this. Now I have this R vector, C vector, and D vector, and again this R vector. So this vector and this vector. See, this vector and this vector, R1 vector and C vector are in the same order. So can I complete the triangle like this? I am just applying the triangle law in this. Again, I will get another vector. This is suppose R2. So what can I do? What can I write for R2 vector? R2 vector will be equal to this R1 vector plus C vector. R1 vector plus C vector. So I am just removing this R1 and C because we have the resultant now finally. So this will be removed. This will be removed. Now, see, this is R2 and this is R2 vector. This is D vector. This R2 and D are in the same order, but this R is in the opposite order, and this is the closing side of the triangle also. If you have this two vector, okay, so I can write
Yes,
this
sir.
R vector is equal to R2 vector plus D vector. So this is our equation number 1, equation number 2, equation number 3. Equation number 1, 2, and 3. Now add all the equations 1, 2, and 3. You will add, you will get R1 plus R2 plus R. When you will add, you will get R1 vector plus R2 vector plus R vector. Here, when you will add, you will get A vector plus B vector plus C vector plus D vector. A vector plus B vector plus C vector plus D vector, and you will also get R1 vector plus R2 vector. R1 vector plus R2 vector. Now see here, this R1 vector and R1 vector will be cancelled out. This R2 vector and R2 vector will be cancelled out. So finally you will have the resultant A vector plus B vector plus C vector plus D vector. Okay. So now finally you have the resultant, and this resultant will be the vector summation of all the vectors. So we can solve this by applying the triangle law again and again, again and again. So no need to write down this. Okay, now I am taking one question. First, we will solve this question. See, this is a figure given, okay, and we have to tell which relation is correct. We have to tell which relation is correct. A vector, B vector, C vector is equal to 0 vector. 0 vector means 0. So now you have to identify the triangle here. You have to identify the triangle. Here, this is one triangle, this is another triangle. Okay. Is it or not?
Yes, sir.
So, have I written the note here? I think. Triangle. the questions are. See this note. If three vectors are in the same order, like A vector, B vector, and C vector, then A plus B plus C is equal to 0. A plus B plus C is equal to 0. This thing I will use here. So that node you should know. So see this E vector, this A vector, this B vector, this E vector, this A vector, and B vector are in the same order.
Yes, sir.
So this is the triangle MPN. Triangle MPN. So you can write A vector, B vector plus E vector. So A vector plus B vector plus E vector is equal to 0. Same order. I am using that node point. Now see this triangle MON. Triangle MNO. MNO. So see this A vector, this is in this direction, this is in this direction. So I can write this A vector plus C vector is equal to D vector. See this triangle. This vector and this vector are in same order, but this vector is in the opposite order. So this triangle is completed. So you can write D vector is equal to A vector plus C vector. And from the option, C minus D vector is equal to minus A vector. So I can write this C minus D vector is equal to minus A vector or not? From this equation, I can write this now. This C vector and this minus D and this will become minus A. So I think this option is correct. Now take this whole quadrilateral MP or polygon MPNO. MPNO. So here we will apply the polygonal law. So for this triangle, see this vector, and this vector. Sorry, this vector, and this vector are in the same order. See this vector. This vector is in the opposite order. So I can write B plus E plus D is equal to C vector. From the polygonal law, apply the polygonal law for the quadrilateral NPME, because here are more than two vectors. So this B vector, E vector, D vector are in the same order, and this fourth vector is in the opposite order. So I can write BED equal to C. B vector, E vector, D vector is equal to C vector. So I from the option, this is given B plus E minus C equal to minus D. So B vector plus E vector. This minus C will come this side. This will become minus of C vector is equal to minus of D vector. See, this is there this option B E minus C D. B E minus C and minus D. B E minus C and minus D. So I think this option is also right. but this option is incorrect. So we can change this option because I think I have written incorrectly. Here will be E vector. E vector is equal to 0 vector. So this option will also be correct. So all of these the answer. Answer will be all of these. From this you will get this first option correct. From this you will get your second option correct. From this you will get your third option correct. Means your all the options are correct. So got it this question?
Yes, sir.
We are applying the triangle law first, and after that we have applied the polygonal law. So in this way the polygonal law will be used. Just note it down. Question and the answer. And no need to draw the figure again and again. Okay. Just draw it once.
Done, sir.
Mhm. No need to draw this diagram again and again because you have completed it.
Yes, sir.
So now I will discuss the subtraction of the vector. Subtraction of the vector. So there is no subtraction in the vector. Instead of subtraction, we will reverse the direction of the vector and will add both the vector. This will become the subtraction of the vector. You see. Suppose I have two vectors. I have to suppose here is one vector in this direction, and here is another vector in this direction. Suppose this is my A vector and this is B vector. So for this B vector, can I write the can I represent the negative of this B vector like this? Negative of V vector means a vector have equal magnitude. Equal magnitude means length of the arrow will remain same, but the direction will reverse. So this vector will be minus V vector this time. If this angle is theta, If this angle is theta, this angle will become 180 minus theta. Now I can say uh, r vector. So now focus on these two vectors, this minus b vector and this a vector. Okay, now we have to calculate the resultant of this minus b vector and a vector. So I can write this resultant is equal to a vector plus, we are adding in a vector minus b vector. So finally your resultant will become a vector minus b vector. A vector minus b vector. So this is the thing here. But remember the thing, the magnitude of this b vector is equal to the magnitude of minus b vector. Magnitude means the length of the arrow. Length of the arrow will always be positive. This is the b. And magnitude of a vector will be a. Magnitude of r vector is equal to r only. So when you will apply the vector law, means parallelogram law between this vector and this vector to calculate the resultant of this vector and this vector, we will apply the parallelogram law. Okay, and that parallelogram law is given by a square plus b square, because magnitude of a is a and magnitude of minus b is only b. A square plus b square plus 2ab. But this time, what will be the angle between a and b? 180 minus theta. So we have cos here, and we will take 180 minus theta. And cos 180 minus theta is equal to minus cos theta. From the trigonometry, you can write this. So your resultant will become a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta. So the formula will change. Okay, this will be your formula. A square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta. If you are just reversing the direction of the vector and finding the resultant of two vectors. Here I have initially this b vector. Finally, I have reversed the direction of this b vector, and this b vector will be now negative of this b vector, and this angle will become 180 minus theta, and accordingly we will add this b vector and this a vector. Got it? How we will do the subtraction of the vector?
Yes, sir.
Just note it down.
So, sir, we can use triangle law also. Okay, sir.
But here we want to find the result, means the magnitude of the resultant. But a triangle law you can apply when you have the geometry, means when the figure is given. Figure is given means with the help of triangle law, you cannot calculate the magnitude. This r is given by the parallelogram law, na? This triangle law is just represent the resultant. Okay, we can apply the triangle law also, we can apply the parallelogram law also. Okay, but most of the time we will use the parallelogram law. So this is from the parallelogram law. Okay. We can apply here the triangle law, but there will be no use of that. We will not get this resultant. Done.
Yes, sir.
So now I am taking one question on this. I have just completed this because so as you not confused in the question.
Sir,
Yeah. Hmm.
sir, in that subtraction diagram where we will draw the resultant.
So the resultant, what you will do? You can get the resultant. Actually, you want the resultant of this vector and this vector now. So now draw a parallel line. This with a line which is parallel to this and a line which is parallel to this line. So your resultant will be this. This will be your final result. Okay. This will be your R vector. Got it
Okay,
now?
sir.
Simply means thing is here na means the fundamental will not change. Here is one vector in this direction. Here is one vector in this direction. Simply we can complete the parallelogram and we will get the resultant vector. Simple.
Yes, sir.
So I am taking this question. Okay. See this question now. They are saying two forces of unequal magnitude simultaneously act on a particle at an angle of 120 degree each. Means the vectors are making 120 degree with each other, and these forces are acting on a particle. If one of these force is reverse, now on the same particle the forces are acting, but this time one of the force is reverse, means earlier the force is acting in this direction, now the force on the particle will be in this direction. Acceleration of the particle will become root 3 times. Acceleration of the particle will become root 3 times. They are saying calculate the ratio of magnitude of the forces. See what is happening here. Suppose this is the particle, and on this particle forces are acting like this. One force is acting like this, and another force is acting like this. This is F1 and this is F2. Two forces are acting on a particle, and these two forces are making an angle of 120 degrees. So 120 degree angle will not be like this. 120 degree angle will be like this. This angle will be greater than 90 degree. If this angle is there, then this angle is 90. So means 120 degree should be greater than 90 degree. So this will be the construction. So this will be F2 vector. And what is the angle? 120. Now two forces are acting on a particle. Two forces are acting on this particle. There will be some resultant of the force. And due to the force, what will happen? Mass into acceleration. There will be some acceleration of the particle. As this force is acting in this side, this force is acting in this side, there will be some resultant force. There will be some resultant force. Due to that resultant force, suppose this is your resultant force, and resultant force is equal to mass into acceleration, Newton's second law. So due to the force, there will be acceleration in the particle. So we can just complete this parallelogram. If you want to draw the parallelogram, then it's okay. Otherwise, it is not required. You can use directly that formula of resultant. Okay. So you will draw a line parallel to this F2, and you will draw a line parallel to this F1. Okay. So this, so the resultant will be the diagonal of this parallelogram. Suppose this is your resultant R1. It's okay till here. Got it? This part?
Sir, it was not given that the forces are joined tail to tail.
You are right. It is not given. But these forces are acting on a particle. Okay. This is the particle. Okay. And this force is if acting like this on a particle. And if this force, another force, is acting on this particle like this. So what we will do, we will join the tail of one to the head of another. Okay. Suppose this is your A vector, this is your B vector. Then you will join, this is your A vector and this is your B vector. According to the direction given, you will join by yourself. Because what we are doing now, we are just applying the parallelogram law. Okay. We are just applying the parallelogram law. And it is given that this force is acting on a particle, and particle represent the very small thing. What is particle? Particle is very small thing. So you can say this force is acting like this. Okay. And this force is acting like this on the particle. So it is understood that you will write the forces like this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will take one example after this question, then you will need to do it. You can now assume that one force is acting like this and another force is acting like this. Both the forces are making an angle of 20 degrees. We have two options. Either we can match tail of one vector to the tail of another vector, or uh, tail of one to the head of another. Means if the vectors are in the opposite order or the vectors are in the same order. So, and we want to apply the parallelogram law. So that is why I can write this like this. So this is R1. So resultant of R1 is given by F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos of 120 degree. It's fine now. I can write this formula. Magnitude of F1 square plus magnitude of F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos 120 degree.
Yes, sir.
And the value of cos 120 degree is minus 1/2. Okay, the value of cos 120 degrees is minus 1 by 2. So I will get r1 square is equal to f1. You can just square on both sides. So you can write this as r1 square is equal to f1 square plus f2 square plus 2 f1 f2 into minus 1 by 2. So this will become r1 square is equal to f1 square plus f2 square. This 2 and 2 will be cancelled out. This will become f1 into f2. This is your equation number 1. So this what this R1 represent? R1 represent the resultant of the force when the force are acting at an angle of 120 degree. Now they are saying that if one of the force is reverse, if one of the force is reverse, so see here they are saying after that if one of these force is reverse, one of these force, we can reverse either F1 or either F2. So now I will reverse this F2. This will be F2 now. And this F2 will become minus F2 because the direction will be reverse. Here the direction
Yes, sir.
of reverse means this I can write minus of F2. And this angle will be 180 minus 120, 60 degree. Now you have to calculate the vector addition of this F1 vector and minus F2 vector. And what is the magnitude of this minus F2 vector? F2, we have discussed this. So in this case, what you will do? Now you will calculate the resultant of the force. So resultant will be like this. Resultant will be like this. When you will draw the parallelogram, this is suppose R2 vector. So R2 vector can be given by under root of F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos of, tell me the angle cos of
60.
one. There is one other way to solve this because you are reversing this vector na, so means you are just calculating r2 means you are just calculating r2 vector means f1 vector plus of minus f2 vector. So you can write this as f1 vector minus f2 vector. So means this is the case of subtraction of the vector. And you can use this formula also. R2 is equal to f1 square plus f2 square plus 2. Sorry, you will write here the minus. Okay, you can check the formula of the subtraction. Minus 2 f1 f2. There you will write cos theta. So theta will be 120 there. See the formula here. Subtraction of the vector. A square b square minus 2ab cos theta. So from both the things, means from both the formulas, you will get the same answer. So here R2 will become F1 square plus F2 square. This cos 120 degree, cos 120 degree will be minus 1 by 2. Okay, so minus minus plus, so here you will write plus f1 into f2. Get it or not? Got it? You can use either the formula, the subtraction of the vector, or you can just simply add this f1 minus f2. Okay, or do you have any doubt?
Sir, so where is minus 1 by 2?
Oh, because here is na, this is here is minus 2, this is f1 and f2. When you will put the value of cos 120 degree, so here this value will be minus 1. Okay, and this will be cancelled out, and this minus and minus will become plus. Okay, so you have the resultant r2 will be f1 square plus f2 square plus f1 into f2. Now got it?
Yes, sir.
So both the ways you can solve. So finally we have this equation. So I can square on both sides. I will get this f1 square plus f2 square plus f1 into f2. Okay. And this R2 represent again a force vector. R2 will be the resultant of F1 vector and F2 vector. Then R2 must be a force, because we are adding the force. When we will add the force, we will get the force. So here this R2 and R1 are the force. What is R1? R1 is the force in this condition, total force on the particle in this condition, when two forces are acting on the particle at an angle of 120 degree. And what is R2? R2 is a force when one vector is reversed. This vector is reversed. So you have this R2.
Yes, sir.
So now they are saying that we have two conditions. Condition 1, when your vectors are acting like this. So you have a resultant this, you have a resultant this, R2. So you have written that resultant like this. So for the condition 1, uh, the on the particle, force on the particle, that is force on particle for the condition 1 is equal to R1. Okay, is equal to R1. You can write R1, and the value of this force will be this R1 represent the force, mass of the particle into acceleration of the particle for the condition
Yes,
number
sir.
1. You can write this. Now for the condition 2, force on particle, force on particle for the condition 2 will be R2, and this R2 is equal to mass of the particle into the acceleration. Here acceleration will be different, here acceleration will be different. Okay, now you have to find the ratio of forces. You have to find the calculate the ratio of magnitude of the forces. Means you have to find the ratio of R1, means force for the condition 1, force on the particle for the condition 2. This will be equal to R1 by R2, and I can write this M A1 by M A2. Now take this equation out. We'll use this. So this M and M will be cancelled out. So R1 and R2 is given as a1 by a2. And what they are saying? They are saying that the acceleration becomes root 3 times. The acceleration of the particle will become root 3 times. So here, if your acceleration is a1, then after reversing the direction of the force, your acceleration a2 will become root 2 times of a.
Yes, sir.
So you can find the ratio of a1 by a2. a1 by a2. a1 is a2 is root 3 into a. So you will get 1 by root 3. So you will have r1 by r2 is equal to 1 by root. Now put the value of r1 and r2. So before putting the value, square both sides. So this will become r1 square, this will become r2 square, this will become 1 by root 3 square. What is the value of root 3 square?
3.
Yeah, 3. So I can write 3 here. So r1 is square. Put the value of r1 square. This is r1 square. So I can put the value here. And divided by r2 square, the value of rt square is f1 square plus f2 square plus f1 f2. This will be equal to 1 by 3. See the value of r2. f1 square plus f2 square plus f1 f2. Now we will cross multiply. So this will become 3 f1 square. Now this is so simple. Plus 3 f2 square. This will become minus 3 f1 into f2 is equal to, now multiply 1, this 1 with this. Earlier you have multiplied this 3 with this. So this will become f1 square plus f2 square. This will become f1 square plus f2 square plus f1 f2. Now here 3 f1 square minus f1 square will become 2 f1 square. This 3 f1 square minus f2, this 3 f2 square minus f2 square will become 2 f2, and this minus 3 f1 f2. Okay. And when this f1 f2 will come this side, this also will become minus f1 f2. So this will become 4 times of f1 into f2. This is equal to 0. Now take 2 common. So you will have f1 square plus f2 square minus 2 f1 into f2 is equal to 0. So this is the square of f1 minus f. So you will have the value f1 is equal to f2. So ratio of forces f1 by f2 will be 1, ratio 1. 1 ratio 1. This is your final answer. So if you have any problem in this calculation, then you can ask me. So this calculation is not that hard. In the whole question, if you have any doubt, then you can ask me. Okay, just write down. And during writing, if you are feeling that you have some doubt, then you can ask me. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Initially, when you are studying the vectors, you have so many doubts. But with time, when you will solve the questions and all that, then one by one your doubts will be clear. You are right that you were saying that why I have just taken the two vectors like this. There can be another way also, but there is a reason for that. First note it down.
Done, sir. Done, sir. Written.
This question is little bit lengthy, but this question is, I will say, quite good question.
Done.
Why I have taken the same mass for R1 and R2? Why mass and mass means, why I have taken the here M A1, here M into A2?
Because particle is the same.
Yeah, very good. We have 3 minutes. Please write down fast because I have to explain you why we have not taken the vectors. Like, because there is one another class.
Done, sir.
I will try to explain in 2 minutes.